Good morning, social media breakfast. How are you guys on this amazing Friday? It's really pretty outside here in Houston, Roger. How is it in Dallas?
Actually, Dallas is starting to get cold. Sunday is supposed to be horrible. It's almost not getting above freezing all day. So completely different. Right now, it's just a little cool, a little gray, nothing good.
Actually, I kind of like this because it makes me feel like we're in, the winter. Because the funny thing is, if you're not watching from Texas, so I know some of our group doesn't, it always feels like there's not really a real winter, right?
It's, that's a good thing because I really do not like cold weather. So, me, as long as it's above 70 degrees, I'm good. Anything below that, I call winter.
Yeah, okay, good. Me too. Well, I grew up in Colorado, so I am supposedly, but I'm old now, so it's been a while. So I think I've, acclimated to the Texas weather. But anyway, I'm really excited to have you, Roger. Everybody, if you're here, make sure you say hi to us in the comments. I will be watching those. So, oh, Katie, you're here. Hi, good morning. I see Rebecca. I see Ann. I see Brian. Wherever you're listening from, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube, I would love to see you here to tell us that you're here because we need to our little networking and everybody wants to see each other too. Oh, Russ is here too. Good. Hi, Russ. How are you? Good. Hi. Awesome. So let us know you're here. And I want it to be interactive. So definitely if you have any questions or anything like that, put them in the comments as we go. I will address them. We'll bring them up toward the end. We're going to have a little conversation because I've got some questions that I want to ask Roger. A little hint here, Roger. The reason I started Social Media Breakfast is so that I could stay on the cutting edge so I can learn. That was really why we started it, is so that we could do that. And I know you're all about networking too. So I want to talk a little bit about your background. So you're a plumber, right?
That's what I am. That's what I've done my whole life.
And I was laughing with you about this when we were preparing because I am considered the plumber in my household. And I even told you that I even broke a toilet once trying to install one, right? So I've had to call plumbers to get me out of my own jams. It's pretty funny.
Well, it's funny because I thought about that yesterday. I went and installed a new toilet because we were doing a video for a bidet toilet seat. And
oh my God.
Whenever because I'm not in the field as much as I used to be. I've got guys that do that. So I did. After our conversation, when I was doing that yesterday, I thought about you because when I was tightening it up, I'm like, okay, be careful. You
don't want to have to.
Yeah, you don't want to have to tell Cammie that you broke a toilet. Pretty good.
Yeah, I've done that. So that's awesome. And we have a lot of people joining us now. I've seen Lance and Julia and Grace. Hi, Grace. You're here too. Wow. And on Facebook this morning. Oh, actually, Ann is in Dallas this morning. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Awesome.
I love that.
And
We're in
Joshua's
Richardson.
here. Yeah. Joshua's here. And we love to have you a part of this too. Thanks for joining in. Julia's on LinkedIn. Christy. Hi, Christy's here. Have you had a baby yet, Christy? You're really close if you haven't had a baby yet. Awesome. So we are having everybody join in. So they're slowly trickling in on this semi-cold Friday in Texas. So you're a plumber, and we were talking about that, but you also have become a marketing kind of, helper or coach, maybe a marketing coach. What would you say?
Yeah, I had to learn social media to make my company grow. And along the way, I've learned it so well that it's funny because I've got YouTubers, big YouTubers that call me and say, look, what are you doing? How are you doing this? But we do coaching, consulting. We're trying to put together digital courses, mainly for residential service people. But it's funny because I'm involved in networking. And when people hear me talk, it's like, look, I can do that exact same thing. And I'm a real estate agent. It's like, absolutely. So yes, I'm coaching, consulting in social media all across the board.
Also, there's something you're doing here in Houston you told me about. Could you talk about that, this Master Networks Houston region? Could you explain that?
I love it. Absolutely. Number one, my wife, Julie Wakefield, is in here. Her and I, she got me involved in networking. Remember, I'm a plumber and I started my own business 5 years ago. And I knew nothing about getting out and networking. I watched her do it, and she's an etiquette and protocol consultant. Wow. She got out of school teaching, became an etiquette and protocol consultant, travels around the country doing that. And I'm like, it doesn't work for you. Your phone's just not blowing up. And she explained to me one day, she says, Roger, this is not something that everybody needs, or at least they don't think they do, but plumbing is. So she convinced me to go out networking one night. We left 2 hours later. She said, Roger, every time I look up, you're standing here, you're waving your hands in the air when you talk. You've got a crowd around you. You're all laughing. What were you talking about? And I said, plumbing. So I realized then networking works. I found Master Networks here in the North Texas area, got involved with it, fell in love with it, have been as an active member for 4 years. And when we found out the Houston region was available, we bought it. We love Texas. You get down Texas, I'll tell you what, if you get down to Houston, people in Houston think Houston is the greatest town on earth. Dallas is horrible. We love Dallas, but gosh, the more we're in Houston, the more we love it. It's amazing.
Yeah, we love Houston a lot. So you've started this Master Networks thing here. So you actually have monthly meetings for that too, right?
We have weekly meetings. We have a lot of different virtual meetings, and we have them all over Houston, which Houston to me is a lot more spread out than Dallas, which is a good thing. But we have them all over Houston, all around Houston, even down inside of Houston. I think we're as far out as Katy. Man, there's groups everywhere. It's pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, we'll learn more about that as we go along. I'll ask some more later, and we'll share the links for that too. It is actually, all of the links for that are actually in the event page for today. Maybe Katie or whoever, I know Tracy's probably in here too. If somebody could go grab that link and share it, that would be great. And in a little bit, we'll talk more about it. But I want to jump right into YouTube because, I mean, the reason I wanted you to come talk to us, Roger, first of all, you're from Texas. So I want all my Texas buds, like,
I love it.
Rock and rolling. Number two, you are a plumber and you did start a very successful YouTube channel. And a lot of people that I've talked to, including myself sometimes, I think I don't have time for YouTube. I'm like, YouTube is hard and like, I don't have anything to say. And like, what in the world am I going to put on YouTube? So I want to bring somebody in like yourself that says, hey, I'm just a simple, businessman. And I've come up with this really great plan to, promote my business and, get some following around YouTube. So thank you for being here for that. And for a second, I'm going to make full screen and let people see one of your clips, which is what do you call this? At the very top of your YouTube channel, it's called
it's our trailer. Yeah, our channel trailer. Yes, ma'am.
The channel trailer. Okay.
Lets people know.
So we're going to watch the channel trailer. You guys ready for that? Let's do it.
Hello, I'm Roger Wakefield, lead.
Oops, I stopped it. That's my fault. And why is it not playing? There you are in your orange.
AP, the expert plumber. I'd like to welcome you to our YouTube channel.
I think it's buffering.
It is. It's lagging because StreamYard's running or something.
Yeah, it's probably my fault. So maybe we won't do that. It's so much fun. Live television. Here you are.
Hey,
I should have buffered it beforehand, huh? Maybe if I let it sit for a while, it'll come back. But yeah, we'll get there. All right. Well, hey. We tried. The point is that it was a 48-second spot where he is telling you what he does for his YouTube channel and why he does it. So basically, could you give us the short version of that in real life?
Absolutely. We created a YouTube channel literally in the beginning to help our business grow. We got tired of marketing companies ripping us off. And what I mean by that is literally we were paying marketing companies a bunch of money and all of a sudden our phones would just stop ringing. And I would go to them and say, well, look, what about social media? And they knew nothing about it. And you could tell by talking to them. So I actually went to learn social media. I went to Social Media Marketing World out in San Diego. I showed up. I knew nothing about it. I actually showed up an hour early because I'm from Dallas. They're on the West Coast. Showed up an hour early. The doors are open. I go in, I ask them, look, can I register? And the young lady behind the counter is like, absolutely. So she signs me up. She literally looks down at her little pad and says, okay, you're a plumber. I'm going to find some people for you to hang out with. And she looks down and she says, oh my God, there's no plumbers here. She said, what other kind of people would you hang out with? I said, any residential service providers, electricians, roofers, HVAC techs. She scrolls down the list and she looks up at me.
To show you plumbing
Oh,
like
now it's
you've
gonna do
never
it.
seen.
There you go.
Let's go. Keep going.
She looks up at me and she says, there's nobody here like you. And I mean, think about that, Cammie. You're in an area where you're completely outside your box. You're out of your comfort zone. And somebody looks at you and says, look, there's nobody here like you. And the first thought that went through my mind is, why not? Why aren't there residential service providers here learning social media? Now, at the time I showed up, I'm thinking Facebook, because that's really the only social media I knew. And I seriously thought, I'm coming to learn how to put better pictures out, how to get more followers, how to do this. And I'm walking down the corridor the first day, and I see a placard outside that says, get in front of your customers using video. And I walked in, I sat on the front row. The guy speaking says, YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. And I shut my book and I thought, this guy has no idea what he's talking about. I turn around to get up and walk out and the room is packed. It is completely full. And I thought, okay, there's this many people in here, something's up. The next words he said is, not only is YouTube the second largest search engine in the world, it's owned by the largest, which is Google. And I thought, okay, wait a minute. Why aren't people using YouTube like a search engine? Put stuff out there that people can find. So we started this all about how to grow our business. And then we realized we had plumbers, people from different trades watching the videos. So what we did is we pivoted. We changed our content a little bit. And that's been really good for us. Then later we realized that I have people send me messages all the time, say, look, I'm not in plumbing, never want to be in plumbing, but oh my God, I've learned so much from watching your YouTube. And it's been amazing for us. It's been good for us as a business. It's been good for me as a person. Just social media is phenomenal.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing stuff. And so when was this that you walked into social media marketing world?
2 years and 8 months ago.
Yeah. So, it's been really not that long. I mean, if you think about it in terms of like how you've built this thing. And I think I wrote down, I have your numbers, but you've got like 234,000 subscribers to your YouTube channel. Generally speaking, I'm watching at 2.6 million views, 1.4. I mean, I've got your YouTube channel. We can still show them the actual look of your channel, even if we don't play the stuff, but let me pull it up here. So here's your channel. I have a TubeBuddy on here, which is a kind of way to know what other people's channels are doing. But this just gives you at the very top, you can see their total lifetime views. The last 30 days, you've had 1.94 million views. You have 543 videos. Crazy, crazy. I love that big green wrench. That's hilarious. So tell me, like, one of the things, how does YouTube support your business? I mean, if you're actually really just talking to all these other plumbers and other service professionals now on YouTube, although most of your videos, I mean, I'm sorry I couldn't show you guys. You guys can go look at this later on your own. But a lot of his videos are about plumbing. It's about different things about plumbing. Like, you go and do all kinds of things. Does this actually work? Let me see if this works. I don't know. Could you tell me a little bit about your content and sort of how it grows your actual business? I mean, you still have a plumbing business, right? So that's working. So tell us about that.
Well, and think about it. If YouTube is the second largest search engine and it's owned by the largest, you know that the largest is going to refer people there when they're looking for video, when they're looking for content, that there's video that can give them the answer. So when I first went to that marketing conference, we were spending a lot of money on Google ads. We wanted the phone to ring. And look, Google ads are phenomenal, but I'm in a town, I'm about $1 million a year plumbing company. Mm-hmm. My competition, or the big guys in town, are doing like 60 to 70 million a year. And I can't compete with them. They can buy all the Google ads they want and just block me completely out.
Right.
So we started doing social media, and our content was to get people to call the plumbing company, meaning, and don't get me wrong, because I've never made a video as an ad. Like, hey, look, we're running a special on water heaters. Call me. I'm the water heater guy. Here's my number. And I don't go even as far as, hey, look, if you can't fix this, give us a call or go to our website. I give them valuable information. Well, the cool thing is once our YouTube channel started growing, we were getting more calls from YouTube than we were from Google. And we have literally quit paying for Google ads, or we had up until about a month ago. Now we're Google guaranteed. And you've got to spend so much a month, which is fine. We know it makes the phone ring, but we're making the phone ring with YouTube also. So that's how it's helped the plumbing company. Now, as we started growing, and I've told you before, I started with my stepson. He came in to help set all this up. Since then, we've hired an editor. Now we've hired a social media poster, which does TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, different things like that. But it's because of the money that we make off YouTube now, I can afford a team to help me. And when I say the money off YouTube, it's not just that it's making the plumbing company grow. YouTube channels done right are actually very profitable businesses.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that you're saying this, because it's something that I found to be true too, that the visibility that you get with your plumbing channel, or whatever visibility content you put out there. So it's something I teach too in my online courses, is about advances here, so he knows. Lance, about really having a visibility content out there, that it makes you kind of rise up to the top. So when people are looking for something, then they can find you. So I think that's really, really important. It doesn't have to be like super boring, dry, like this is what you should do with your plumbing. This is how you should do it. Like, your videos are not dry and they're not boring. So you've grown a huge community of people around your channel. So could you talk a little bit about how you're attracting people? So like take me all the way back to 2.8 years ago, when you got back from social media marketing world, and you're like, I got to do this. So did you just turn on your phone and start recording? Like, how did you decide how to do video?
It's a great way to look at it too, Cami. When I was at that conference, I had to leave early on Friday because I had a radio show in Dallas first thing Saturday morning. So I didn't even get to stay through the keynote. But when I got on the plane, literally there was nobody in the chair next to me. I had the 2 fold down trays down. I had 2 notepads. I had my iPad. I had my computer, and I am going through all these notes, and I am putting everything together because I wanted to come up with a plan. So after the Saturday show, I came back to the office, kept going through it. Julie and I got up, went to church Sunday morning. I came back to the office, or took her home, came back to the office, finished up my plans. Monday morning when the guys got in, got them out on trucks, and Julie and Will and myself sat together and said, okay, we're making a change and we're making it now. And I said 2.8. We posted our first video April. That's 2.8. So literally 2 years, 10 months ago is when I went to the conference. It was the end of February, 1st of March. So when I got back March the 1st, that weekend, literally I came up with an implementation plan. And anybody watching right now, whatever you hear me say today, the most important thing you can do is don't just learn how to do this stuff, learn how to implement it. Make yourself do it, because that's what sets me apart from everybody that walks into that conference. I implemented immediately. And the way I did it is I walked into my office, my very first videos, and they're still up because Will's asked me, hey, you think we ought to take these down? They're not very good. I'm like, you're right, but let's leave them. And I want people to see, look, when I started out, I was sitting in front of my computer. In the very beginning, it was a webcam on a laptop. I finally ended up buying a webcam camera. I've upgraded that. And then I bought a microphone. I've upgraded that. Start with what you have and then grow to what you can. And if you will do that, but the biggest thing is start. Get that channel started, make a video. And another big thing that I learned in the beginning is get your name everywhere you think you may ever want to be. And I know that's funny, but you know, there's new apps coming out all the time. There's new platforms coming out all the time. Get in there and get your name. Even if you're like, look, I will never use Snapchat, but you know what? I have a Snapchat account in case Snapchat comes back and becomes the biggest thing on social media. I'm already there.
Yeah, no, true.
And
And
it's
you
my
have your
name.
name, which is really important. And you're using your personal name, right? So let's just talk about that for a second, because you use your personal name on all the channels, not the name of the company, correct?
Well, another great question. I started out as Texas Green Plumbing. That's what the YouTube channel was.
Mhm.
Then later, when we realized we've got a lot of plumbers watching us, asking questions and wanting to learn, well, I had won a contest through one of the big manufacturers, American Standard, and they named me the next expert plumber. And we took that and said, okay, let's change the name of the channel to Roger Wakefield, or change it to the expert plumber. So we rebranded everything for the expert plumber. Then when we started realizing now it's not just plumbers, there's electricians, roofers, and HVAC techs watching us. Now let's change it to Roger Wakefield. And I can talk about all the trades. I can talk every time I talk to somebody about how to get into plumbing, how to do this, how to do that. I always tell them, look, you can take out the word plumbing and put in electrical, put in HVAC. And it's the same mindset that you want to do to move forward.
Right. I think that's great because, okay, you've been at this for 2.8 years, whatever it is, and, just under 3 years, and you have rebranded 3 times?
Yes, ma'am.
3 times.
Yep.
And so social media is like, I think that's what somebody said it here. I think it might have been Brian or somebody, but yeah, just get started. Yeah. Yes, it is what I've said, Brian, over and over again. This is absolutely true, because it isn't going to be perfect at first. It just won't. I mean, you have to get started. And I think a lot of people, including myself, I mean, there's a perfectionistic streak in a lot of us, that we feel like it has to be perfect before we do anything at all. And so you're there, you're making these crappy videos, whatever, beginning, whatever, open up your laptop and you just start talking. So can you tell me how you started to attract? It sounded like you were doing other things before too. You were on a radio show. You were already understood the importance of marketing and PR, right? So you took those things and you leveraged them into your channel. So can you kind of explain how you started to get a following? How did that happen?
Absolutely. When we were doing the radio show, we realized there's not a lot of people listening. We'd get a couple of calls from it, but not a lot. And we finally decided, look, let's take what money we can and invest in just building a studio. The studio that I'm in, we built this ourselves. And this is here at my plumbing company. And to get started, it's just turn that computer on and go. But if you want to grow and you want to get a following, you've got to be consistent. You have to be, Julie and I talked about this actually late last night. It was, we're on YouTube, and YouTube is a search engine. Build your videos to get searched and found, because that's what it is. And if you use that in the beginning, that helps you get your following. Anybody searching for plumbing is going to see me. Now, don't get me wrong, we've dropped a lot here lately, meaning used to 2 months ago, you could search plumbing and I had, I'm going to say 10 to 12 of the top 20 places. Now, we've dropped down a little bit. Things have changed a little bit, but there's always other people putting out new stuff. And I love that because it gives me stuff to look at. And the YouTube algorithm also, they don't want to keep one person on top of everything forever. They like bringing people variety. But being consistent in our posting, we realized there's people watching us and following us. And we started watching our numbers go up. As the numbers went up, we decided, okay, now it's time to find out how to do this better. Let's go to another social media conference. Let's go to one just for video. Let's go to one just for YouTube. Let's go learn how to get better. And we started learning to get better. Then we actually hired a coach. I still, if I saw a thing today by somebody that I really admire on YouTube and they're doing a new lesson, how to do YouTube, I'll buy it. I want to watch and learn. I'm always trying to get 1% better every video we make. And we focus on that all the time.
I love the 1% better concept. That's perfect. So when you first started, going back again, this is great what you're saying. I think investing in yourself is huge. I do it too. I invest in myself all the time. I go and get the training that I need in order to get better. So I love that. I think some people see that as weakness. You had to go ask somebody how to do it. Aren't you the expert? No, No, I mean, the key is that you never are the expert, right? The key is there's always somebody that has figured something out. And are you going to pay just a little bit of money to get the training that you need? Or are you going to pay in like blood, sweat, and tears and years? Blood, sweat, tears, and years. I'd say, you're going to pay either way, right? And so I think that's really important. One of the things I wanted to say though is at the very beginning, how did you promote your videos? Like, how did you do that?
We didn't know anything about it. Didn't really know how to. Literally what we did is if we made videos, we tried sending them out in our email campaigns. We tried sharing them on Facebook because we were already there. Luckily for me, about the time I started getting good at video on YouTube, I started getting better at LinkedIn, and I started really using LinkedIn. Then I learned how to use LinkedIn to build relationships. And I started, as a plumber, I started building relationships with real estate agents. A lot of the video content that we made on YouTube was wonderful because it rolled right over into that. And real estate agents can watch it and say, okay, now I know what a sewer water test is. Now I know how to help my clients better. And if I'm bringing value to them, that they're going to come back and watch and they're going to share my information. So that worked out amazing for us.
Well, that works too, because like if you have a real estate agent that's looking for content for their social media sites and stuff, they have your content to share. That is so, so powerful. Like finding like a tangential partners, I guess is the best way to say it, is share your content, and it's super valuable for them. That's really amazing. That's really, really good. I hope you guys took note of that. That was really good.
And that's wonderful because, curating content is something that LinkedIn looks for. That's part of your LinkedIn score. Do you share other people's valuable information? And I want to say something neat about what you said, Cami. I love the fact that you said, look, I invest in myself too. And tie it back into what I said a while ago about other platforms. I just got on Clubhouse.
Yes.
And literally about a week ago, I'm going to say 7 or 8 days ago is my first day on it to actually get in a room. And it was one of Grant Cardone's rooms.
Oh, wow.
So I get in this room and I've got a question because he's talking about the things to do. And one of them is invest in yourself.
Yeah.
Invest in your business and invest in real estate. Those are the three things he says, this will make you money. And I had a question. So, they called on me and I started talking and Grant answered and talked. And then one of his people jumped in and says, hey, I want to tell you about Roger because I'm listening to Roger talk. Roger is doing exactly what Grant's talking about. Invest in yourself, invest in social media, invest in this. So he went on and talked for about 10 minutes. Grant Cardone came back in and says, hey, I just checked you out on YouTube. You're killing it. He says, matter of fact, I just tweeted out that people need to check you out. What you're doing is exactly what I'm talking about. And I mean, what is better than social media when you can get an introduction like that, a tweet like that, and somebody talk about what you're doing?
No, it's really good. I mean, it's happened to me before, not with Grant, but that's where you're on, like, so you go like into Grant's room to learn, right? You're like learning from someone, and you've done a lot of networking. So see, it all comes together, right? So the networking, a lot of people because you've gone to the conferences, they know you, you know them, they know your story. And then you're in a place trying to like learn. And then somebody in that same space says, hey, you should check out this guy who's here. It's happened to me before too. And I think that is actually the key, is like showing up as somebody who's learning rather than somebody who is a know-it-all, whatever. And when they go and check you out, then they can say, oh yeah, you've got something going on there. Very interesting. And then they kind of have their own interest too. So I thank you for sharing that because that's really important. And Clubhouse is awesome. It's new, but it's only for people with an iPhone. So if you don't have an iPhone yet, and you also have to get an invite. And so both of these things, I think all this stuff will open up though. I've been through many, many of these launches of new networks, but it's all audio. And next month, Bonnie Frank I've actually invited her to come to talk to us about Clubhouse. So make sure you guys mark your calendars for next month to talk about Clubhouse and how to use Clubhouse. And then hopefully by then things will be, a month in Clubhouse is probably going to be a lot of changes, right? So it's like,
absolutely. Yes.
So awesome. I really appreciate that story. So how do you transform your watchers into customers? I wanted to talk a little bit about your customers. I mean, you still have a plumbing business. I mean, you may eventually do this instead. I don't know. I mean, things are pivoting for you a little bit, but what do you, has your plumbing business grown because of your YouTube channel?
Absolutely. And one of my favorite stories is, and I always say, just a couple of months ago, and now it's probably 4 to 6 months ago, I literally was walking out of the office one day to go look at a job, and Amber, my call center rep, literally says, hey, you realize we got 3 slab leak detection jobs, or no, 3 slab leak repair jobs off of YouTube.
Wow.
And I looked at her, I said, what do you mean? Now slab leak repairs, you're in Texas, is when we have to tunnel up under a house to fix something. Well, yeah, it's expensive. I mean, these jobs are anywhere from 5,000 to over 100,000, depending on how many feet you're having to tunnel, how much pipe you're having to replace. But we live on black Texas soil that shifts and moves, and it ruins our foundations. So I looked at her, I said, how do you realize that we got 3 today? She says, well, all 3 of these calls came in because people saw the content you had out on YouTube, and they called us and said, look, you're our guy. That's amazing.
I love it. I mean, and so on your channel, how do you kind of set it up so people can find you? So I'm going to actually kind of go to your channel real quick.
I don't. I really don't. I don't. There's links in there where people can find me in different places, but on my YouTube channel, I don't ever point it back to my business, which is probably a mistake. But
a little bit.
If people want to find you, they're going to.
That's true.
And my thing is, and every now and then I'll talk about it. Look, I work at Texas Green Plumbing, or actually, if I'm out on a job, you may see a van in the picture. You may see the Jeep in the picture. There's a lot of different things. I really don't point them to it. That they find it, and Will's probably got it down in our description where there's a link to our webpage or something like that.
I have it on I'm looking at your about section. It's not there. I would put it there if I were you. But
we probably need to. We probably need to.
It would probably help, but it's awesome. It's awesome that you don't have to. To me, that's just a testament to like how you've been. And so speaking of that, your video game has gotten better over time, obviously. So let's talk a little bit about creating videos that get watched. So starting from the beginning. So a lot of people, let's say here, I think I'm looking across here, a lot of us are either, there's some beginners here I know that never have done YouTube. I know there's some people here that, like myself, for example, who put stuff on YouTube all the time, but like don't really optimize it at all. Like we just put it there. And then there's probably some, I don't know if is there anybody here who has a really good YouTube channel? Let me know in the links. But I think that's mostly what you're looking at is people that are beginners to like intermediates. So could you talk to us about what we should do first?
Absolutely. And the neat thing about it is this is something that anybody can do. When I say in the beginning, I was literally sitting at my desk in my office with a laptop in front of me trying to get the frame right. And since then, we've grown a lot. But the things that I think that I do best, because guys, I have no training in front of a camera. I've never had a formal speech coach that did anything with me. I tried to hire one time. She says, look, you don't need me. She said, you're good. Just keep doing what you're doing. So that was kind of neat. But the most important thing is realize when you're creating content, you're trying to bring value to whoever's watching this. So I don't necessarily make the content that I want to make. I want to make content that people need, that people are looking for. And when I can create that content and then present it to them in a way that they know that I'm talking to them, they know that I believe they can do it. And when we make videos about how to do it, sometimes I'll tell people, look, this might be out of a lot of people's comfort zone. And if it is, don't do it. Call your favorite plumbing company and go that way. But the 2 big things when you start making video, when I talk, I look directly into the camera. And the reason for that is if I'm looking you straight in the eye talking to you, you can feel it. You know, I'm talking to you. and the bad thing is, and this blows my mind, when people are watching making a video on a phone, they want to look at themselves. So if the whole time that I'm talking to you, I'm looking over here and I'm like, look, I'm talking to you. How are you doing? You know, you keep wanting to look over your shoulder like, who's he talking to? And it's so true. So, I mean, people please. And what I tell people to do is, look, put your finger up there. And when you've got it on a reverse screen, put your finger up. That way you know right where the lens is. That's where you need to look, because that's when you're looking.
Sticker too. I used to do that. Like on a phone, you can take a little tiny sticker and just put it like right there, or even like a sticky note. You know what I'm saying? Like a very small sticky note. You can just put it, because nobody can see that.
I was looking around. I've got a iPad frame in there that I can stick my iPad in to shoot video with. Yeah. And literally, I've got a Post-it note right here and an arrow that says "Look here." But that's what we did in the beginning. I need to remember, I've got to look right there. And the other thing is, when I'm doing a video and I'm showing somebody how to fix something, I literally say, look, you can do this. You take this apart, you take this, you do this. Because if you say you and you look someone directly in the eyes, man, they can't help but feel like, hey, he really thinks I can do this. Which when I make videos like that, I do. I've had women call me and say, look, I'm a 100-pound woman and I just rebuilt 3 toilets thanks to you. Anybody can do this. But if I'm not really looking in the camera and I'm not saying you, if I'm just like, hey, look, y'all can do this. Anybody can do this. That gives you and your mindset a way to say, he's not talking to me because he doesn't know me. I can't do this. Now you automatically have a way out.
It's not me. And that's funny. I mean, because just so you know, because I couldn't show you guys, but his content is very much like do-it-yourself plumbing. You know, it's in very large part that, and memes. There's some memes in there too, right? So can you talk about memes a little bit, and like when you choose to jump on one and when you don't?
Number one, memes are hilarious, and I've got my marketing team loves making fun of me. Matter of fact, a lot of them are in here probably waiting to see if I mess up today. So the neat thing about it is, look, they've got people making memes. We're going to run a contest about making a meme, best memes of Roger, and let people make memes. I mean, look, I mess up a lot. I get it. I have fun. I don't care. It's as long as I don't make a mistake that hurts somebody, or I don't make a mistake where somebody can mess up their plumbing. But you know, I slip, I say the wrong word, I get frustrated. And Grayson, who's actually in here, loves just making fun of me. Well, the guy's got to listen to me talk and watch me 8 hours a day, every day. So
do something with that.
he does. So he has a lot of fun. I think I've got the greatest marketing team anybody could ever ask for, because the things that we look for, the things that we try to do, but memes are fantastic and people are really loving it. So we decided we'd have fun. So anybody wants to make a meme of me, I think we're going to put it over on our subreddit, Roger Wakefield Posts.
Awesome. I love it. So I love it. We're going to make a meme. I know that I tell my people all the time that I make all the mistakes so they don't have to.
I love it.
I'm all about making the mistakes so you don't have to make the mistakes. And I've made them all. I can guarantee you, especially when it comes to video. You know, there's audio, there's video. So let's talk about equipment. So I know your equipment's really, really awesome right now. So we can talk about what you have now, but let's start at the beat. Like, is there a basic minimum you tell people they should have?
Literally, to be honest, when I tell people they're starting out, you can start out, number one, with a phone and get a microphone, get a ring light. You start right there. You have all the equipment professionals have. They have lighting and they have audio. Audio is probably your first investment, and you can spend $20 to $100 and get a great microphone that'll plug right into your iPhone. And it makes all the difference in the world. I've got 2 box lights in here that I think I paid $47 each for through Newegg or something. Now, we've got other lights around that we've spent a lot more money on, and it helps us because now we can adjust the color, we can adjust the warmness or the coolness. And sometimes my face looks really red, and we can say, okay, let's throw a little bit of green on there and let's bring his face down. There's so many different things that we can do, but we started out, like I said, y'all, with a laptop camera. Then we moved up from there. The first real camera we bought was a Canon M50. Then we've gone to Sony. We've done Sony 64 and 6600s. And the last two we bought are Sony A3s and an AR3. And I probably said that wrong because I'm not a camera guy.
That's all right. I get it. So you've gone to like the more DSLR type of thing from like whatever. Like I'm using a Logitech right now, and I can't read it from here, but it's a Carl Zeiss Logitech. It's decent. It's got good. It looks good. I often use the actual laptop camera. I still sometimes use that for certain things. If I'm just out and about or wherever. Or your phone. I mean, phones have such great cameras in them. They really do. I mean, they really have better cameras than laptops do. So I think that's great. I definitely have a list, guys, of stuff that I use for social media breakfast. I can give to you. It's like an Amazon wish list or something. So I'll try to find that here in a minute and give it to you. But I think that it, again, just get started is really important. Let's talk a little bit about thumbnails though, because I think in YouTube, that's a big deal. And what I mean by the thumbnail is like the picture that you see, like when you go to YouTube and you see all these different pictures and they try to catch your attention with this thing called the thumbnail. Could you talk about that?
Absolutely. The thumbnail is one of the most important things. To me, the two most important things for your YouTube channel are your thumbnail and your title. And Cami, you and I were talking earlier about being able to schedule LinkedIn Lives now.
So cool.
You get a thumbnail for that. And just like YouTube, your thumbnail needs to tell people what this video is about. So, and you want to make it where people can see it. If you look at thumbnails on your mobile phone and see how small they are, look at the little writing. Look at the things that you can't really see. So one thing that we try to do, we always try to make my face big. We always try to have something in here that the video's about. And we use lots of colors. We use words on it, but we try not to overdo the words. We may use 3 or 4, 5 or 6, but we want the words to be big enough that people can actually see the words if they're looking on mobile. A lot of us look on a desktop, so the thumbnails are this big. And when we build them on desktop, we've got widescreen monitors, so the thumbnail is this big, and that's what we're looking at. And it was really neat. I was interviewed by Benji Travis. And when his team finishes his thumbnails, he says, text it to me. He doesn't want to look at it on a computer. He wants them to text it to him. And think about it. When somebody texts you something, and I'm not going to be able to find one real quick.
No, I mean, it's small. It's like a little.
You bet.
Yeah.
And if you don't touch it where it blows it up, it stays small, and he can look at it there and he knows that's probably what the customer, the viewer, is going to see. What's it look like there? And when you look at it that way and say, okay, this is the way I'm looking at this, that's huge. One other big thing, and this is one that I learned from Nick Nemeth, you want to build a thumbnail so that if people are just scrolling through YouTube and you are being recommended, your thumbnail, if they see it, they have to click on it. Your thumbnail is so interesting, so entertaining, so exciting. It doesn't matter. They may not be looking for plumbing, but did you see that thumbnail? I got to see what this is all about.
I tried to do a really good thumbnail for this one. So
it looked good. I was happy about it. No, you did great.
I made that myself.
Good for you. You want to come up to Dallas and you can help me make thumbnails?
Listen, I actually thought I just kind of mimicked your channel. That's what I did.
Well, I've got Will does our thumbnails and he's doing a fantastic job.
Well, Katie's in here. Katie does a lot of my graphics, and so does myself, and then Tracy's in here too. So I have a great team too. So I love having a team. You have a team now, but you really didn't have a team to start with. So what did you start with, like, for your editing of your videos and stuff like that?
And actually, Will started editing the videos. I had hired him to help me with social media. And again, remember, I'm a plumber, so I'm just thinking Facebook. And we were doing Facebook posts and stuff like that. Whenever we started, we tried Wave, we tried Canva, we tried so many different things, and they really started getting good once we got into Adobe. And now we do all our editing, we do everything in Adobe, our editing, our thumbnails, all of it. But I mean, we started, Mac has a video editing software with it. We started with stuff like that. anything free we started with, because it's like, look, we're not making any money at this. What can we get for free and learn how to use it? And it was normally whatever was on iMovie or something like that. And okay, we can make a video with that. Let's go.
Yep. Well, we have our first question, so I'm going to bring it up.
I love it.
And we have a few minutes here for questions, so that's great. And we were talking about this right before we came live, guys. You have no idea. We just talked about this, didn't we, Roger?
Yes, we did.
Mm-hmm.
I love to stand up, Jennifer, and I love this question because a lot of times when I'm interviewed by people and they are sitting down, you can see it. Now, look, Cammie's got energy, so she has no problem with this. But other people that have interviewed me, you watch and it's like they're just sitting there reading a question, and then they look up and it's something like that. You can see Cammie. Cammie moves around. She's like, "Hey, look, I did this and I did this."
I'm bouncing,
no,
if I was standing up, I'd probably be dancing. I'm
the same way, and it's like I've done that before too. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, I love standing up because it keeps my energy up. If I sit down, I can start to relax. I can start to chill. I can start to breathe. Now, when I stand up, I'm like, okay, let's go. I'm ready for anything.
Let's do the energy. Wow. Yeah, so it does
absolutely.
help your energy. I would say my biggest issue with standing up in my space, I thought about it, is that I'd have to have my camera up higher and I'd have to buy things to make that happen. So I'm almost 6 feet tall as a woman. So it's hard. So I'd have to have a different studio setting, because this is actually my office, just so you know. My desk is right here behind me. So this is all very encapsulated in one spot. But yeah, I think standing up is awesome if you can make it work for your space. But if you can't, sit on the edge of your chair. So one of the things I do for sitting is I do not sit, if I was sitting like this, that looks different than this, right? I'm engaging with the camera. I'm engaging with you because I want to know that I'm talking to you. I want you to know I'm talking to you. I am talking to you. Very important. Okay, great. So do you recommend, I have another one from Lance. Yay. So Lance has a really cool party bus, Roger, with a really cool new horn, by the way. It's very cool. He was playing his horn yesterday on his video. Good job on the video too, by the way. So do you recommend having the same location to do your YouTube videos? For instance, always shoot videos in your office, living room, etc. Is it okay to change the location?
Actually, Lance, it's always okay to change. You want to give people something different. Mm-hmm. When I do videos, we call them talking head videos. If I'm in here just talking to apprentices or people that are interested in getting in the trades, or somebody wanting to get better at the trades, it's real easy for me to stand here and do it. And I can still move. I know that Grayson, the editor, he's going to bring in all kinds of things. He's going to make it look really cool. He's going to leave cookie crumbs everywhere. He's going to have lower thirds come in. He's going to have sides come in. It's never going to be just me standing here talking, never moving. And I know that he's going to zoom in. He's going to zoom in. He's going to zoom out. He's going to jump cut. He's going to do all kinds of different things. The neat thing about it is that keeps people's attention. Now, if you're shooting remotely, just remember that. Make sure that you shoot far enough back out that you can give yourself, when editing, room to zoom in, to zoom in, to zoom in, to jump cut, whatever it is you want to do. We've got to where we'll try to set up 1 or 2 cameras if we go on location. We shot yesterday. I was talking to Cammie earlier about setting a toilet. And the thing is that we also like to try to get a gimbal in there. That way we can get some movement video. There's a lot of different things to do. Another one too, since I am in a studio, we've actually ordered it. It's the slide, the motorized slide, to where we can put a camera on it that will constantly move and turn. That way it's another view, it's another angle, and it's more movement. Yeah,
and as you get more into videos, I mean, you're going to buy more tech, you're going to buy more tools. I mean, it's just going to happen. But let me just be honest, Roger, you are making money off your videos. So now you can actually invest that money in other equipment too. So let's just go back to that. So you don't have to start with that. You can actually, like he said, in the editing itself, you can do zooming and zooming out. And if you don't feel comfortable editing, there's a lot of places you can find a great editor. Upwork I've used to find really great video editors. I have one right now, but if you there's places you can look for stuff like that if you don't have one, because I know a lot of us don't, and you can do it for cheap. They'll do it for, $20 or $30. So if you feel like if you can afford that, I mean, you should be able to afford that. That's just an investment in your business.
And the neat thing is, Cami, and you nailed it great. There's people that do that. There are literally companies that do really good video editing, that do it for, I mean, I think you can get 12 videos done for $600 or $700 a month. And you send it to them, you get it back 24 hours later, you can make changes, you can do things. Thumbnails, there's companies that do thumbnails. There's probably high school kids you could find to do thumbnails.
My son did it for me for a very long time. I have to be honest.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You invest in them. It's so funny. Amber, I talked about her a while ago, our CSR call center rep, CCR, customer service rep, whichever way. There's two different ways. CSR, CCR. Amber, her 9-year-old son wanted to learn YouTube. I bought him Sean Cannell's book, YouTube Secrets, and said, look, let him start learning and reading here. This is the basics, but it teaches you about that, how to slowly invest in yourself, slowly get better,
YouTube
slowly
Secrets,
improve.
The book recommendation.
Well, it's good. And I mean, I'm telling you, even when I coach people, I tell them, start with this book, because this is going to tell you a lot of the foundational that can really get you ready to learn and ready to grow.
I love it. YouTube Secrets. We will definitely do that. We're going to actually turn this into a blog post sometime this week, guys. So we will get YouTube Secrets and add it to the blog post as well.
And it's funny. I think Katie mentioned in here that she loved Benji Travis. Benji Travis wrote this with Sean Cannell.
That's awesome. Next question up is, did rebranding 3 times in such a short period of time help or hurt your follower numbers?
Christina, it really didn't hurt me at all. And that's why we did it when we did. When I started the channel as Texas Green Plumbing, we probably got up to about 360 subscribers, January 2018. So, from March to January, it's 380 subscribers. Actually, 361, I think, to be the exact number.
Yeah.
And at that point, we said, okay, look, we're starting to get plumbers in here. Let's change it to the expert plumber, which that's about the time that we did it. Then about by the end of the year, the end of 2019, we decided, look, we want to rebrand this because this is all plumbers that are, and not all, I still get a lot of homeowners, but we get a lot of plumbers that come in and leave comments. So that's when we decided to change. Now, remember, at that point, I was still under 20,000 subs. And at 20,000 subs, it's like, look, I kind of want to change it. I kind of don't. And I talked to one of my YouTube coaches or consultants and said, look, what do I do? He said, look, if you ever want to change it to your name, now's the time. You may lose a few subs, but people know who you are now. Your subscribers know you by name now. So you're not going to lose them. It may be harder for newer people to find you, but we found out it didn't.
You also made playlists. So I think one of the things that you've done really well is you've put together, so in YouTube, one of the really cool things you can do is playlists. And playlists are really helpful because you can put your stuff in. So you have all of your stuff, I guess categorized is the best way to put it. It's like going into the library and saying, hey, I want to watch all these. Because I went in to watch your channel and I went into the homeowner stuff and watched all the, can I put, Coca-Cola down my toilet to make it like, unplug. So you've done some memes like that too, like, trying to like, does it work? Like as seen on TV, does it actually work? So I thought that was good. So you do have that, you have different categories. So you can do that, I think, when you're rebranding, right?
I think that, when you rebrand, you're not changing anything about the structure of your channel. And even when we were Texas Green Plumbing, even when it went to the expert plumber and now that it's Roger Wakefield, our channel is still all about plumbing. And it always is. It's about one thing. It is about plumbing. And as long as you're not changing your channel up much, you can change your name. Your subscribers are going to stay with you, and new people finding you, it'll make it to where they know who you are.
Absolutely. So now another one from Walter. Do you ever do live videos? Are they always taped?
I've got a very strict schedule now. We post recorded videos Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Wednesday being a sponsored video. We did our first sponsorship deal this last year. Every Monday we go live from 3 to 5:30. sometimes we get out a little early for something or something will happen, but we go live and we've had upwards of over 300 people in there at sometimes.
That's
So
awesome.
it can really get good.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And then I think that answered the next one too from Russ, which is how often do you do your videos? Are you consistent, or do you try to change things up from time to time?
The only thing we've ever changed is we added the live, and believe it or not, now I think we've been doing that probably half a year. But we started consistency from the day we started. We started 3 videos a week from the very beginning. And sometimes it would literally be me just coming in, sitting in front of the computer and going live and recording it with Google Hangouts. And and I don't guess that I even realized I was going live. I just thought, okay, I'm sitting here making a
This is
video.
how you do it, right?
Yeah, and there was nobody invited. Nobody knew who I was, so there was nobody there. But it's funny because that's really how we started. And
yeah, a lot of people worry about talking to themselves, like going live and stuff. But there's a lot of things you can do with those videos too afterwards. Like you can share them, email them. You had an email list, right, beforehand?
well, we had an email list through the plumbing company, but even in the beginning, we weren't even smart enough to say, okay, let's send this out to our current customers. Email lists are something that as a plumbing company, as a YouTuber, all the above, I've never learned to use them right. I understand your CRM. It's something that I need to get. I either need to hire somebody that's great at it, or I need to spend some time to figure it out.
No, I think it's great. I mean, honestly, again, we are all learning new things. Like I feel like I can up my YouTube game a lot. I've got like so much content. So something is not, you got to learn. Like there's like little adjustments, right?
Cami, that's the neat thing that you said. Look, you feel like you can up your YouTube channel. I feel like we can up ours. And don't get me wrong, I'm making good money on YouTube, but there's always a way to improve. When I started out, I wanted to be a good plumbing channel. And once I realized, look, I'm going to be the biggest plumbing channel. Well, why not try to become a good YouTube channel to where other YouTubers look at it and say, look what they're doing. And it's starting to happen. So it's like, there's always room for improvement, even with us. And we constantly look at what can we do to get better.
I think that's so true. You could always be better. That's such a great tip. I mean, I think you say if you arrived, then you're finished, right?
Yeah, if you've arrived, the destination's over. Or if you've hit the
You're
destination,
finished.
your journey's
you're
over.
arrived, you're finished.
I love the way. That's a great way to put it.
So Eileen says, if you had $500, what equipment software would you buy to make the most of that and not have to replace it in 6 months when you get more money?
The software, I would invest it and you don't get to buy it anymore, but the Adobe suite. I think Adobe is so good. And look, they don't sponsor us. I get nothing from Adobe. I pay for my Adobe. Let's put it that way. But with what Adobe lets us do with Photoshop, with Premiere Pro, with everything that we use, it's to me, it's probably hands down the best. It may take you longer to learn it, but you're going to like it.
There's a curve.
There is. There's a learning curve. And luckily, I've got people that learned it. I don't have to do that. But the thing is, look, I've got a phenomenal editor. And when he comes in and says, hey, look, this works. This is good. And he'll call me in and say, look what I did. He made a cartoon the other day. And we did a video where I'm this cartoon Roger. So
cool.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy what people can do.
I think though, I mean, if you're talking about what equipment would you buy to make the most of that, the software of Adobe is fine, was what you're saying. That's great. Definitely a microphone of some kind. You can get an expensive one or a cheap one. One of my team put in my link to my Amazon thing, so you could see these. But this is audio. If you want to look it up yourself, it's Audio Technia.
And that's a great brand. I know big YouTubers that love that.
Yes, it's an ATR. I've used it for my podcast forever. ATR 2100 USB. So this actually is a USB mic that plugs USB into your thing. I've got a little thing I invested here in arm. I probably can't pull it down right now. That kind of like Roger's. For this, I'm using the Logitech, and that's also on my Amazon page. And I'm also using the audio for the Logitech right now because it made it easier for my setup. So for right now, I'm using that in here.
And Cami, that's fantastic because in software, those were my first investments. I did like the Yeti blacked out microphone. We've gone over to Rode. We do different things, but yeah, under $500, you can invest in Adobe to get the software. You
This is like
can,
less than $100. It's
yes,
80, I think, something
yeah.
like that.
And look, jump over to our Amazon page and see what else she's got, because that's the way to get started. And luckily,
lights, I mean, I do have lights, and they're really awesome. I wish I could show them to you, but they are. You can go look on the Amazon page. They're like little panel lights, and they just. If you've come to Social Media Breakfast Live, you've seen them. They're very small. They're very. I think they were like $120.
And that's not a big investment to get started. And it
don't
makes
have
all the
money
difference
for
in the
light,
world.
you can just sit in front of the window.
Natural light's huge.
Yeah. So.
I love it.
All right. Next question. Let's do it. Do you have a recommended length of time for videos? Is there such a thing as too short of a video?
Yes, there is. My recommended length is as long as it needs to be. And that's why I say, I love the way this question is answered. Is there such thing as too short? Absolutely. If you're trying to tell somebody how to do something, the video needs to be long enough to tell them how to do it the right way. If you cut steps to try to make it shorter because you want people to watch all of it, you're cutting steps. You're not showing them everything. Your video needs to be long enough to tell them everything you're trying to tell them without having to put in a bunch of fluff. And if you're just putting in fluff, you're going to lose people anyway. Now I'm going to answer this from a YouTuber's point of view. We do try to go over 8 minutes on every video. The reason being, once you start getting into AdSense where you make money from YouTube, if your video is over 8 minutes long, they can add a mid-roll ad and you make more money because there's more people advertising on your channel.
Absolutely. And that's the other part. So I'm going to ask you a question. You make money on your YouTube channel, right? So this YouTube thing has become a really good, like, extra income piece of your business. And so can you talk about that just a little bit for those who might be interested in that aspect?
If I'd have known the kind of money I could make at YouTube, I'd have gone all in so much faster. Our income this year through YouTube is going to be about 8 times more than I've ever done as a plumber. And that's just where we're at now. Yeah. And I'm a good plumber, and I've always been a superintendent and a director of operations. I've made good money as a plumber. We're making about 8 times more than that every month right now.
Crazy.
And it's we would in a month as a plumber.
And advertising. So it's not just the advertising, it's also sponsorships as well.
Yeah, but I tell you what, right now they're about a 50-50. We're not making, I've got stuff on Amazon too. We don't make a ton of money because I don't push it. Or when people call me and I say, hey, this tool's on Amazon, and we can send them a link. But I don't promote it in every video. I don't do things like that. And again, like my plumbing company, I probably should. But our revenue is strictly AdSense and a sponsorship agreement.
That's great. I mean, just people don't realize how much money is to be made in this. How do you come up with your topics and plan your editorial calendar? And how far in advance do you plan content?
Carrie, we've learned how to do it good. Will, the first conference that I went to with him, the first person that he went and talked to, which I'm actually on Tom Martin's podcast here soon. He teaches how to create content. And after we're at this conference for 3 days, Will and I sat and ate breakfast. I said, okay, what was your favorite session? He said, the first one, Tom Martin, how to create content. So you learn to use Google Trends. You learn to use keyword tools like TubeBuddy, vidIQ, different things. Yeah. I love TubeBuddy. Do you have a link for people for TubeBuddy? That is one of the best tools there is.
I do. I'd have to. I don't have I mean, TubeBuddy is great. We can get it for you.
Yeah, you can get it from
.com. Just go there. You don't have to.
It is the most amazing tool. And the neat thing about it, I think if you've got an affiliate link, I think they'll get a discount. So you
I
might, if
don't
you
know if I
don't get
have
one,
I don't. If you have an affiliate link, let's grab it.
I don't have it with me.
Of course not.
She can get one. She can get one and put it in her link. But here's the deal: it has tools in it to help you find that content. You can put in a keyword and play with it and change it. And when you learn how to use that, it not only helps you with your content, but once you get that content, it helps you with titles. So there's great ways to look at it and use it. But after Will walked out of Tom Martin's class, literally he sat in here for a few hours. He came back in and he said, okay, I've got content written out for 28 months.
Yes, it's awesome. I actually also have something like that. It's a 6-month planning calendar. It's a toolkit that we sell, and we do it. Actually, Madeline and I used it for our podcast all the time, and we'd have about 6 months of content written up in about 2 hours, like ideas and ready to go. So there's a great way to do that. That toolkit's actually coming out in another week or so. We kind of, it's about to come out. So I'll let you guys know. I'll send you guys an email when it's time. So if you're not on our email list, make sure you also get on that. That's going to be really important. We are kind of at the end of our hour. I think that this has gone so amazing. I mean, we could talk to you forever, Roger. I do not want to, stop really, because it's so much fun to talk to you. But is there anything that, like, let's give a final thing that you want to say? Like, what is the one thing you tell people? Like, if I could say, tell people one thing about YouTube and why it's important for their business, what would you say?
It's important for your business because think about the world we're in. People don't buy from businesses. They buy from people. They buy from people that everybody says know, like, and trust. Mm-hmm. I say know, love, trust, and are connected to. And people can literally go to the gym in the morning and take me with them. They can listen to me for an hour on the treadmill. They can think of me in case of an emergency and go to YouTube and say, okay, Roger showed me how to fix this. You've got something you do. You've got a story that you can tell to let people understand they need to connect with you. And when people hear your story, when they hear your why, when they hear about your struggles and how you've gone through those struggles, you've got to where you're at, they will follow you, they will listen to you, and they start looking for you to listen to more. If you're thinking about doing this, quit thinking about it and do it. Don't say, I want to do this. Say, I'm going to do this and make it happen. That's
just
huge.
do it.
Just do it.
It's not a sponsor. Sorry. Just want you to know. Not yet.
And I'm not wearing Nike, so,
Yeah. It's awesome. So guys, thank you so much for being here. I just want you to know that we have actually started a new coffee. So we're every fourth Friday. So we do this on the second Friday. And on the fourth Friday, we're going to start doing a Zoom coffee. Some of you were there for that this last time. We have set that all up. I'm going to almost immediately after we get off here, go and put it up in the events calendar on Social Media Breakfast. I just didn't want to confuse people so they don't show up to the wrong meeting. So we'll put that out there tomorrow, and I'll also send out an email. And I would love to have you there. And we're going to be talking there. That's going to be more of a networking event. So we'll come in. I'm going to break you guys out into breakout rooms so you can talk to each other. We're going to share like the latest stuff that we're hearing about social media, like the stuff that's changing in all the different platforms. I have a employee that actually does that every day. They go out and look for all the things that are changing, and I'm keeping a spreadsheet now. So we're going to talk about that at this event every fourth Friday. So and also you bring what you know. That's the cool part. We can teach each other, right? So again, nobody here is the expert, right? We're all learning together, and you will learn a lot there. So I hope you will plan to join us 2 weeks from now on Friday at 8:30. And also next month on the second Friday, we will have Bonnie to come talk about the newest, latest, greatest platform, which is really all about audio. I love that, right, Roger? You're loving it?
It's so cool. You just literally, you open up the app and you're in a room, and you have moderators that control who gets to talk. And if you want to ask questions, you raise your hand. It is wonderful.
Cool. And if you don't have like iPhone or something, unfortunately it's only iPhone right now, and I'm like Android, so I'm telling you the truth. I have an invite, but I can't go. So I feel like I have an invite to a party I can't show up to. It's really fun. But I think that'll change. They'll probably bring everybody in eventually. So exciting things to keep on top of. I mean, things are changing all the time. So I hope you guys come next time, and thank you so much. And God bless you. Have a great weekend. Okay, great. All right, talk to you soon. Bye. Thanks, Roger.